If I told you you were, if I told you you were, if I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. If I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. If I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. If I told you you were, if I told you you were, if I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. If I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. If I told you you were beautiful. Just to say how much you mean to me. If I told you you were beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Just to say how much you mean to me. If I told you you were beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
What does beauty mean to you?
To me, beauty is what's on the inside in a person. It's how they act and their personality, mostly not on outward.
Okay, well, in a girl,
And whoever.
I think like you have to be good looking. Like long, if a girl has long hair, big, a big butt, big, you know, type like thick sort of. You have to have a good personality too, like nice. I think you have to be funny. Yeah.
Whatever you want it to be.
What do you mean by that?
Like, anything could be beautiful. Like, this desk could be beautiful. The lights could be beautiful. I don't know.
Okay, so beauty is anything.
Beauty to me means having self-confidence in your own image.
It means having like confidence in yourself and feeling pretty and having others think that you feel pretty.
Beauty can be defined as not only physical appearance but personality, because I feel like there's people that genuinely look good but because of their personality they can't be beautiful because their attitude sucks. So I feel like a lot of components go into being beautiful, you know, because it's like you comprise these things for the overall product.
So, beauty, I think beauty is what kind of personality you have, like how nice of a person you are, like what you do to define yourself. It's not how you look outside. How generous you are, how giving you are, instead of, because if you're selfish, you're not truly beautiful if you're selfish, if you're unkind towards others.
I don't think it's like what's on the outside. I think that beauty is what's on the inside, because you could be as beautiful as ever, and if your attitude is disgusting, you're not. That changes like your whole persona. So yeah.
I usually think about beauty in terms of what's inside the person, and when I see beautiful people, it's kind of a mix maybe of their self-confidence and happiness and the way they express their themselves, like a beautiful, you know, express themselves verbally, physically, intellectually, but I also think things like the most beautiful thing between two people might be a conversation.
I think that it has to do with a certain confidence of how you present yourself to the world, and a certain way of interacting with other people, right? Having sort of that kindness and confidence to build people up, not be breaking them down. I'm often struck when I look around a table of my friends, they'll all look so different, but I mean, I'm biased. I think my friends are pretty great, and I feel like I'll be looking around and be really struck by kind of how much beauty there is at the table, like how much strength, confidence, kindness, you can kind of see it coming out of people's eyes, you know?
How do you think beauty is being defined in pop culture or media?
Well, I think now it's basically popularity and who, like, it's a fashion show, like who's the best dressed and who has more.
A lot of magazines, like I see them with like skinny people, like skinny, and most of the time I see it Photoshop. Like I think beauty should be all natural and not like Photoshop like how they do it. making your blemishes go away, your acne go away, skinnier. Plus, I don't really think skinny is better. I think like thick, any curves.
Like, everybody has to have a nice body and have the nicest clothes and stuff like that. Like, if you don't have that, you're not pretty, or you're whack, or you don't look good. Like, you know what I mean?
I think like the more implants and more surgery you have, that's the better you should be in pop culture. And, like bigger butts and like bigger cleavage.
Very appealing and you know, yeah, like sexy and but more like female than male. Okay.
The skinny girl, the girl with the longest hair, the girl with the big lips, the girl with the nice bottle-shaped body, and all of those are falsities of beauty, because that's not what beauty really is at all. That's just the image that media portrays. And it's very disgusting because teens look up to these media pop stars and then they see that they're beautiful because media calls them beautiful, so then they go and try to look like them. They idolize their people. And it's okay to have like your favorite celebrity, but to go and try to make yourself look like them because that's the image you see as, you know, beautiful is not right. People should find beauty within themselves, not some icon.
Definitely by outward appearance. So, like, for example, if you're fat, no one likes you. If you're too skinny, you get picked on. You have to be either a football player or a cheerleader nowadays to get any sort of recognition.
You gotta have long hair. Oh, if you're white or like race-wise, you gotta have long hair, blue eyes, and like for like black people or African American people, you need to have like, they think like a big butt and a big chest means you're beautiful. That's not always the case. What happened to like the girls with like the natural hair and things like that, and yeah, that's how they define it.
Well, I think it's been said for many, many years that it's very trite and cliched, and that there's a standard of beauty for women, there's even a standard of beauty for men. There's also a standard of beauty for black people, standard of beauty for Latinos, etc., etc., etc. For women, it's the worst, I think, because people criticize and scrutinize their looks the most because of our male-dominated culture. And so the pinnacle of beauty is something that most women can't ever reach, and so they're considered failures.
We can mean whatever we want individually, but I think it's very much kind of packaged and produced, and I think that the beauty standards that are being promoted are not very healthy ones. I think that there is very much sort of a single image of beauty marketed at least to certain populations. And I think that's problematic. I do think there's been some pushback. I think there's more people are thinking about this and talking about this and trying to get, you know, a real multiplicity of appearances and body shapes and professions and experiences and ethnicities out there and kind of honor them all as beautiful. But I think it's a slow process. Yeah.
Have you ever been put down based on your appearance, and did it matter to you?
I got a bald haircut. Well, not this one, but it was really bald. And like people kept, you know, calling me like names. They didn't really put me down, but I thought it was funny. Because I mean, I saw someone bald, I'll probably do the same thing. It didn't really matter. I mean, kind of mattered, because like sometimes I was like, why are they doing this? But not really.
No. Yeah, but I don't care.
Yeah, I've been put down because I'm like skinny, so like people like sometimes they call me like twig or like skeleton, and sometimes it doesn't matter, but like sometimes it doesn't matter because I wish I was kind of bigger.
Yes, and at a point, but then I built my self-confidence.
Yes, I've been put down because of how I looked, and the people would say things, how I used to dress and stuff. Now it's less because I dress differently because I changed my personal style, but it used to hurt, you know. You find clothes that you like, you go to these stores, you make your own style, and then for people, society not to accept it, for society to be like, that looks horrible. You know, that really takes, you know, a personal toll on yourself. But it's all about being strong and being able to accept criticism and know that you dress for you. You buy your own money to pay for your own clothes, or you make your own clothes for yourself. So once you embrace that concept that you look good for yourself, it's not about how people see you, it's about what makes you happy.
Yeah, when I first came to this country, I was still used to my culture, obviously. Like, I wasn't used to this culture. So, in my culture, we used to wear sandals a lot, you know, because we come from the tropics and everything, and it's really hot, too hot to wear sneakers. So, I wasn't used to this culture, and I wore a sandal to school, and you know, they made fun of me for like a good couple of months until I got used to everything. But yeah, that's pretty much the only time I've ever experienced anybody making fun of me because of my outward appearance, mostly because of my sandals.
Okay.
I don't know. I never had like people be like, oh, you're ugly. I have never had people tell me that to my face. And if they did, well then that's your business. That's not mine. I'll just like I feel like how I see myself is how I'm gonna see myself. It's not what you guys think of me. It's what I think of myself.
You know, when I was younger, when I was in, you know, high school and junior high and elementary school, I was always short. I mean, I used to be really short. I grew 5 inches in 1 year. So you can imagine, yeah, I know, Susan, that you sympathize here. So I was always short. And when I was 14, I started wearing glasses, so I got a lot of crap for that. I've been told I look Jewish, and that for the people who say so, that was a negative thing, like I should be embarrassed about that. And so I would say maybe the first 18 or 20 years of my life, I was kind of self-conscious of being short, nerdy looking, and Jewish looking, etc. And then I got to college, and I realized that women also like smart guys, and then I stopped worrying about my looks. But as I get older, I'm getting very self-conscious about my big belly, and somebody says something every day about it. Some student, some teacher, I'm walking down the street, someone says something, and I'm like, really? Is it that important to you? People make imitations and jokes, etc. And sometimes if I'm feeling like bad about something else, it does make me feel bad.
Yeah, you know, when I was, and it's funny where it comes from, when I was very little, my mom would always, and I'm built very differently than my mom, I'm built like my dad's side of the family, and my mom would always say, like, you're really, you look bony today, right? Like it was this negative thing. And I will never forget my high school boyfriend's best friend saying that I had little chicken legs. I was so offended, but I also didn't wear shorts again for years, I bet. And it's funny how those little comments, which are probably they didn't even think about, right? But they stick with you. And it wasn't until I started working out a lot more in college and later on that I started to feel stronger and kind of feel like I could own the shape that my body took.
Do you think there is a certain standard that has been set for men and women on how they should look?
In today's generation, yeah, I do think so because of the influence that pop and media and social media has.
I think men they have to have like facial hair, muscles, 6-pack, tall maybe, dress nice. And women like what I said, skinny, long hair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a standard. I think like women are supposed to be like more voluptuous in their appearance, and like men are supposed to be like muscular and strong.
So for women, definitely. So women, it's more like stronger than men. I feel like women are supposed to wear makeup, supposed to have their hair neat at all times. They're not supposed to have their hair wrapped up in public. Women are supposed to maintain their weight, you know, not get too big, and all these types of stereotypes of how a woman should be to be classified as beautiful, which is false because for different cultures, beauty means a different thing. For men, I feel like men, it's a little less strict, but you know, clean cut, nice, always a haircut, clean clothes, nice, expensive clothes, you know, from man's beauty. But like I said, all of those stuff are falsities of, you know, like I said, media.
Yes, I feel like girls should have long hair and perfect skin and stuff, and like the males, they should have perfect built bodies.
Yeah, women are expected to always have their hair done, have their makeup done, have their nails done, have their toes done, and then guys are expected to be clean cut and sharp.
Yeah. Like we were watching in the Disney movie, you know, the Mickey Mouse Monopoly, where we were describing all the Disney girls and everything, how they have big breasts and then they go slim down to like the tiniest size of the waist, and then it goes wide again and then slims down back towards the feet. That's how the society thinks a woman should look like, and guys they need to have a six-pack ab with like gripping muscles and everything. So
tall, skinny, anorexic-looking woman with gigantic breasts. It's in media, it's on TV, it's in movies, it's on the internet, etc., etc., etc. I think in some ways, some things might be getting better. The plus-size model movement is a little bit giving a little air to maybe for some women who feel like, you know, it's okay to be a little bit bigger now. I don't really know if that's true or not, but that's just what I see about, you know. But I think, you know, stereotypes are pretty bad. And they are bad not just in the United States, all over the world. There's always some kind of icon of beauty that everybody looks toward that women have to compare themselves to. And frankly, I wish they wouldn't. I wish everyone's there looks the way they look.
I think there are sort of gendered expectations of what it means to look masculine or feminine, but I also think that much like standards of beauty, people are pushing back on that a little bit now. I think people are also pushing back on more stereotypical images of what it means to appear masculine or feminine. I think that as we become more open to different sexual orientations, we can appreciate beauty in different forms. Actually, some of my freshmen the other day were saying that there are skirts for guys now, like not just kilts, like Scottish, but like straight up skirts, and I haven't seen that. And they were like, yeah, it's for comfort, but they look pretty good. And I feel like that kind of, that's sort of very much representing pushing back on gender norms of how men and women are kind of supposed to look. And I think that the fashion world is doing that too. I think that there's a very androgynous look in the fashion world that isn't particularly heavily masculine or feminine. And while it isn't necessarily realistic for most people, I think it definitely calls into question what it means to be a particularly manly man or particularly feminine woman.
What is one piece of advice you'd give to others who are self-conscious?
They shouldn't think and they shouldn't care about what others think about them. It's basically at the end of the day what they're doing and how they feel, and not what others think.
So just be yourself, because at the end of the day, it's your body. It's not anyone else's.
To not care what anybody else says. It's your opinion that matters.
First, slap yourself in the face and make sure it hurts, because I want you to then look in the mirror and see and look at yourself, okay? I want you to look at yourself and say, I am beautiful. Because no one else is going to tell it to you, unless you're like the most attractive being, which doesn't even make you beautiful, that just makes you attractive. I want them to look in themselves and say, I'm beautiful because I can do this. If you can just find something within yourself that makes you happy, that can make you beautiful. I want people to understand that, you know, you're going to go through life and you're not always going to be the popular girl or the popular boy, the one that has the most friends, and that's okay, because that's not what makes life worth living. You find something to live for and you live for that.
If you're self-conscious, like, think you're beautiful, no matter like what anybody says about you, what anybody thinks, because there's always somebody in the world that will value you based on your appearance.
Don't listen to others. It's what you do with yourself that makes you who you are.
Just chill. Stop. I mean, just don't think about what everybody else have to say. Think about what you have to say. It's not always about how other people see you. Yeah, they say, you know, your first impression is the best impression, but it's sometimes like people are biased. People could be, what's that word? Very critical. So, you know, it's about what you think of yourself. It's not what others think of you.
Remember, the person criticizing you is probably the person who's in more pain. Anybody who goes around criticizing the way other people look have some kind of problem that they need to work through to make themselves feel better. So they actually feel bad. So to make themselves feel better, they say, oh, you're ugly, you're fat, you're this, you're that. And it's usually their problem. And to think, oh, that person has a problem. I'm the same way I was yesterday as I am today, and I'm fine. And every student in this school is fine. And it's the people who say they're not, those are the ones that have big problems.
I probably read this since, I wish it was something more exciting, but I feel like I read this in some magazine, but it's something I remind my friends all the time, is that like we would never stand for our friends to tear themselves down the way that we tear ourselves down. If a friend said something about herself or himself the way that we talk to ourselves in our heads, we would be furious at them. We'd be like, you can't talk to yourself like that. You are my beautiful, amazing friend. And I think that we don't tell ourselves that enough. We don't believe it enough. And so surrounding us with people that build us up, that inspire us, but also reminding ourselves that we're the only person that are always with us, and we have to be proud of who we are.
Who cares?
Okay.
Amen.
Thank you, girl.
If I told you you were, if I told you you were, if I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. If I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. If I told you you were beautiful, beautiful. If I told you you were, if I told you you